The official report says it was a celebration. They say the beast drank until it burst, and the city cheered. But looking at the crime scene, this wasn't a hero's victory. The Vistula River is choked with dead fish. The air smells of rotten eggs and burnt flesh. Whatever happened here wasn't magic. It was chemical warfare. The autopsy is inconclusive. No biological creature should have been able to consume that much sulfur. The explosion didn't kill it. The water did. To understand the kill, we have to understand the target. The file dates back to the reign of King Krakow. Witnesses described a localized apex predator nesting in the limestone caverns beneath Wawel Hill. It wasn't hunting for sport, it was extracting a tax. Cattle, sheep, and when the livestock ran dry, the city began paying in a different currency. The knights failed. Frontal assaults were suicide against that hide. King Krakow was losing the war of attrition. Desperation breeds innovation. The crown stopped looking for a warrior and started looking for an engineer. They found Skuba. History calls him a cobbler. I call him a demolitions expert. Skuba knew he couldn't pierce the armor, so he decided to attack the internal organs. The plan was simple: a Trojan horse, made of meat. He prepared a bait, laced with sulfur and tar, a chemical bomb, waiting for a spark. He placed it at the mouth of the cave and waited. Before we trigger the detonation, we need to understand the biology of the target. Based on the consumption rates, 3 sheep per day, we can estimate the metabolic output. This wasn't a spirit. It was a caloric engine. A reptile of this size, active in a Polish winter? It defies the laws of nature. Unless it wasn't cold-blooded. To digest bone and produce that much methane, the internal body temperature would need to be over 100 degrees. It was a biological furnace, which explains why it lived in the limestone chimneys. It wasn't hiding from us. It was venting heat. And there is one detail the legends gloss over. The tribute wasn't just for food. Virgins, livestock. It's a pattern of hoarding. Some biological theories suggest the dragon wasn't eating them all. It was building a nest. Which implies Skuba wasn't just killing a monster. He was exterminating a species before it could reproduce. That changes the motive. King Krakow didn't just want safety. He wanted to ensure he remained the only apex predator on Wawel Hill. The crown doesn't like competition. To understand the crime, we have to look at the scene. The locals call it Smocha Yama, the dragon's den. But strictly speaking, this isn't a cave. It is a geological wound. The Wawel Hill is a tectonic horst, a block of Jurassic limestone thrust upward by the Earth itself. Millions of years ago, pressurized water forced its way up from the deep, dissolving the rock from the inside out. It created a labyrinth of chambers, cupolas, and chimneys, a natural fortress, perfectly designed to amplify sound and trap smell. Whatever lived down there didn't need to hunt. The cave itself was the trap. Evidence was collected. Trophies were hung. If you go to the Wawel Cathedral today, you will see them. Huge, ancient bones hanging on heavy iron chains above the main entrance. The church claims they are the remains of the dragon. They say, if the bones fall, the city falls. But I ran the forensics. These aren't reptile bones. The rib cage? It belongs to a Pleistocene whale. The skull? A woolly rhinoceros. The leg bones? Mammoth. It's a Frankenstein monster, stitched together from the Ice Age. A psychological operation designed to convince the public that the monster was dead. But if the bones are fake, then what exactly did Skuba kill? Let's go back to the weapon. Skuba didn't use a sword. He used chemistry. Sulfur, tar, sheepskin. History says the dragon ate it, felt a burning thirst, drank half the river, and burst. But sulfur doesn't explode like gunpowder. When sulfur burns in a confined space, like a wet cave, it creates sulfur dioxide. It turns the air into acid. When it hits the water in your lungs, it becomes sulfurous acid. The beast didn't explode. It suffocated. It drowned on dry land, its lungs burning from the inside out. Scuba didn't slay the dragon. He gassed it. The target took the bait. At approximately 0300 hours, it didn't suspect a thing. Sulfur is odorless when mixed with tar, and the creature was gluttonous. It swallowed the device whole. Driven by internal fire, the target retreated to the only cooling source available, the Vistula River. Witnesses say it didn't just drink, it drained the banks. But water was the catalyst. You don't put water on a chemical fire. The water accelerated the gas production, the stomach expanded, the armor plates, usually its greatest defense, now became its prison. There was nowhere for the pressure to go. The explosion rocked the foundations of Wawel Castle. It wasn't a biological death. It was a structural failure. The beast was neutralized, instantly. Scattered across the riverbank, pieces of the legend. The reign of terror ended, not with a sword swing, but with a chemical reaction. The city cheered. Scuba was hailed as a hero. But when the smoke cleared, the cleanup crew had a problem. What do you do with the body of a god? Let's build a profile of the offender. Male, reptilian, highly territorial. Most predators kill to survive. This one killed to send a message. Look at the victimology. Cattle are high-calorie, low-risk targets, efficient. But the virgins? That's high risk, high visibility. It wasn't hunting, it was theatrical. An organized offender doesn't just eat, he creates a ritual. The fear wasn't a byproduct, it was the currency. By demanding the city's future, the children, it psychologically gelded the population. It forced them to be complicit in their own trauma. It didn't just want meat, it wanted submission. And King Krakow's, he fits the profile of the enabler. Negotiating with terrorists never works. He let the beast establish a comfort zone right under his castle. In my line of work, we call that a symbiotic relationship. The dragon was the perfect distraction. While the city looked at the cave in terror, they weren't looking at the throne with questions. A classic protection racket, managed by a monster and sanctioned by a king. Today, if you visit the Wawel Cathedral, look up. Hanging by the entrance are massive bones, iron chains holding up the proof. The church claims they are the dragon's ribs, a warning to any other monsters. Modern forensics tells a different story. Blue whale, mammoth, woolly rhino, Pleistocene fossils, misidentified by medieval peasants, or a government cover-up to legitimize the king's victory. If the real bones were destroyed in the explosion, any large bone would do for the photo op. The cave is still there, the Smocha Yama. It's a tourist trap now. They installed a metal statue that breathes fire on a timer for children. A carnival attraction built on a crime scene. But down in the limestone darkness, the smell of sulfur never really left. Scuba proved that monsters bleed, but he also proved something more dangerous. That with enough chemistry and enough desperation, we can become the monsters. And if you think the biological threat ended with the dragon, check the archives for 1973. When they opened the tomb of King Casimir in this same cathedral, 15 researchers died shortly after. The official cause? Aspergillus flavus, a toxic fungus preserved in the dark for centuries. The dragon may be gone, but the poison remains. This file is closed until the next digging season. PolskiLore, out.